Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's New York Mortgage Bankers Association webinar. I'm thrilled you're here for what I know will be a fascinating and forward-looking conversation about the future of home construction, sustainability, and affordability. Today, we're joined by Mary O'Brien, who's the CEO of Happy Homes, a company that's reimagining the way we build housing in this country. So Mary is the Chief Executive Officer of Happy Homes. They are transforming construction through high performance factory built homes that are environmentally conscious, beautifully designed, and delivered in a fraction of the time of traditional builds. Mary brings a career shaped by innovation, operational leadership, and a commitment to sustainability. Under her leadership, Happy Homes is focused on eco friendly materials, energy efficient designs, and modern technology driven tools, including 3D Home Configurator with AR, VR integration that enhances both the design and the home buying experience. Her work sits at the intersection of climate forward building, consumer empowerment, and technological transformation in housing, and has made Happy Homes an emerging national leader in the future of residential construction. This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. We have a serious construction labor workforce shortage in New York and a serious shortage of affordable housing. And, New York has made a lot of commitments to attack climate change. And I think that this presentation is going to show us the future of home building in the country. So, Mary, I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. And without further ado, I guess we'll go ahead and get started.
Sounds great.
So, can you share your journey to leading Happy Homes? Um,
Yeah, yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me and for the opportunity to speak with you guys today. So I guess my background is 25 years in healthcare innovation. I was never involved in real estate, house building, never really, wasn't on my radar until about 3.5 years ago. I came across companies in Asia where you go online, you select a beautifully designed house, and basically you buy the plans, all of the engineering is done for you, and you were able to have a build kit delivered to site. So I thought that this was a very unique idea, that nobody else was doing it. I didn't obviously know at the time what I know now. But I just thought that this was something that if you can deliver affordable housing in a faster, sustainable way, that this had to be a no-brainer in terms of launching into the US market. So established Happy Homes in December 2022. Basically thinking that I would be a sales and marketing company reselling these build kits. Fast forward 3 or 4 months, realized that there was a huge demand out there from hundreds of inquiries that we had received, but also that in order to deliver a customer experience, that we really had to do that through a technology platform. So I had been involved in healthcare companies that were a telemedicine company, for example, the first of its kind in Ireland, that allowed people to see a doctor online. And I knew that innovation and technology could really deliver a user experience that would remove a lot of the obstacles to people kind of exploring the innovation and realizing, is it something for them? So we set about building a platform, still thinking that the supply chain at that time would come from China, but actually quickly realized that with the demand, with the technology platform that we were building, that everything had to become in-house in order to control the brand experience, the customer experience, which is really what we wanted to deliver. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't exist when it comes to construction and to new builds, etc. So we ended up, I guess, refocusing the whole company from a sales and marketing entity, reselling other people's build kits, to bringing design, engineering, procurement in-house, plus then the manufacturing aspect to really deliver a fully integrated solution. So fast forward 3 years, that's what we've been working on, and that's what we've launched into the market. And then I guess to kind of take it a step further as to where we are today, we decided that in order to acquire clients, that rather than spending tens of $millions on marketing, trying to make people aware of Happy Homes or make people aware of the platform, that really we could become an underlying infrastructure because we had the in-house capabilities, design, the engineering, the technology, the procurement, that we could actually almost become like an underlying infrastructure, a white labeled platform for other people to deliver their brands, which is really what we've focused on in the last 12 months. So about 2.5 weeks ago, we launched our first brand partnership with Martha Stewart, which is an exclusive 3-year contract, basically taking her 4 iconic homes, the Bedford, her farmhouse, her New York home, Perry Street, Lily Pond, which is her Hamptons estate, and her historic estate in Skylands. And we've basically taken those, replicated those using our panelized steel construction, and launched those into the market. So we've had a huge amount of interest, hundreds of inquiries in the last few weeks alone, of people that are interested in building or owning a piece of Martha Stewart real estate.
That's awesome. One of Happy Home's biggest value propositions is faster construction. What specifically in your building process shortens the construction timelines?
Yeah, so I think for us, it's the fact that we have standard build kits on our website. So today we've got about 35 homes that people can come to our website and acquire. Those homes, all of the architecture and the engineering is done as standard. Also, the procurement, people can customize those with doors, floors, windows, etc. But the fact that these are plan sets ready to go that are then adapted to the person's location for their permitting pack, that saves a huge amount of time, the pre-construction process. I think the other major time saving part, which delivers our homes 40% faster, is the fact that they're panelized offsite. So the core frames are produced in a factory in Salt Lake City, panelized and shipped onto site. That eliminates a lot of trades work at the initial point of construction. So that's where you get your 40% time saving. And because you're eliminating the trades, then you get about 20% time saving as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think that's really helpful in New York because we did lose about 45,000 workers over the pandemic in the construction
Yeah.
industry that have not come back into the industry.
Yeah.
So we're facing a big shortage, and this type of housing is really going to go a long way to helping us continue to build the housing we need while
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah.
that.
But the stats are like, look, at the end of the day, every country in the world, every state in America has a housing shortage. And like there's potential and possibility for companies like ours to establish themselves anywhere. But the issue is that because we can remove the need for labor, the fact that there's a labor shortage at the moment on the construction side of more than 640,000 is the latest stat in terms of the labor workforce. It's not necessarily an attractive career for people that necessarily, but the fact that you can deliver houses that are pre-engineered in a factory that actually doesn't necessarily need the labor that's required for a stick-built house, then you've got a much more compelling proposition. I think the other thing as well is that right now, less than 5% of houses in the US are built using light gauge steel, which is the core technology that our homes are built on. But what we've really seen is that the wildfires in California have really driven the demand. So we've had a huge amount of organic inquiries because people are looking for alternatives to timber. They're underinsured, so they're looking for something more affordable. Building offsite obviously delivers affordability. They get a lot of insurance incentives by building alternatives to stick-built houses. So I think that this whole need for 12,000 homes in California alone will accelerate the demand for solutions like this.
Yeah, I agree completely. Building in New York presents some unique regulatory and logistical challenges. Have you guys had any issues with delivering your homes here, and how have you navigated those?
Yeah, so we have a number of houses that we're in design and permitting right now. We've also had a huge amount of inquiries on the East Coast because of the Martha Stewart launch, which again She's very popular in New York, New Hampshire, Connecticut. Um, but logistically, we don't have issues because we manufacture a steel frame Salt Lake City. We aggregate all of the components for the kit, and then we deliver that kit on site. So logistic issues we don't have. We also eliminate from a general contractor perspective, we eliminate the need for them to do all of their own procurement. So we become their back office completely by delivering a kit 90 to 95% ready to go on site. Again, from our perspective, because we have in-house architecture engineering, we can deliver to every state in the US, and then we will deliver each plan code compliant to that state. So we haven't look, there's permitting issues everywhere that we work, but they're just part of the course. I think you also have the other time-saving benefits with homes like ours and other companies delivering similar solutions. But I think we're real about the obstacles that are there, but I think we can also deliver benefits to help people overcome some of the time issues.
Yeah, I mean, from a timing perspective, as well as there's less waste.
Yeah.
The materials are, in a safe environment while they're being built,
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
opportunity for theft or environmental damage or anything else. I think that's brilliant. Can you walk us through the end-to-end process from when somebody were to start thinking about one of these homes and then they order and then the house is
Yeah.
set?
Yeah, so clients come to us with, I guess, kind of one of three pathways. Either they see a house on our website that they like, that they want to advance, they have their own plans that we can convert into our build system, or they want a customized home. So that's typically the three kind of buckets that people come to us with. A lot of times the people coming to us with their own plans are developers or it's commercial projects or it's commercial entities, and then we convert those plans. A lot of people who come, they see our homes on our website, they make customizations, that's not a problem. So from there, we would set up a call with our architects. Those architects will go through the lifestyle and the budget that the client wants to achieve. And then we'll set about providing the architectural plans for that client to review, go through all of those customizations, prepare the permitting pack. Once the permitting pack is approved, then we'll start the procurement, the manufacturing process. Some clients come to us with their own general contractors. Other clients want us to connect them with our certified installer network. Either is absolutely fine. No special tools are required for a general contractor to build these homes. They're very comparable to a stick-built house, with the exception that we're delivering a core structure that's pre-engineered and ready to install on site. And from there, the homes are finished in a very similar way to, again, a stick-built house. So there's a lot of interchangeable terms, and I think kind of confusion might be the wrong word, but I think that a lot of people use terms around prefab, modular, factory built houses interchangeably. From our perspective, we've made a decision not necessarily to deliver volumetric 3D, so your boxes that you see craned in on site, because you've got a lot of design restrictions, you've got a lot of logistic issues with delivering those solutions. We wanted full architectural design control over what we deliver. So we decided to go down the route of panelized homes being delivered on site, which is where you get your time saving, which leads to a cost saving. But then you also have a lot of architectural scope in terms of what you can deliver. So typically the design process when a client comes to us, that's a 6 to 8 week process. Obviously, then we deliver the client their permitting packs. We work in 50 states. And right now we've got projects in California, New York, New Jersey, Vermont, Hawaii, Utah. So we've a wide range of locations that we're already working to. And then once the client is ready to move forward, we'll connect them and start the installation process. So the actual installation itself, you're saving about 2 to 3 months from a time perspective on the build side.
Awesome. We have a question in the chat. Do these homes meet Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and USDA standards for financing?
Yes. Yeah. So they're considered like mortgageable 30 years. They're not HUD approved homes. These aren't factory built homes. They're exactly the same as a stick built house. And it's one of the biggest issues that we have to overcome on every client conversation. It's almost like that whole kind of talking them through what our homes are versus, I guess, the fact that we're trying to explain to people these are not modular, they're not factory built houses. What you see there is a panelized solution that's delivered on site in the exact same way as a stick-built house, like for like construction.
Awesome. In terms of the package itself, is there infrastructure? So I know that you can get heat pumps and other types of things with the
Yeah.
home. Do you have to hire like a separate electrician? Do they come pre-wired? How?
Yeah, no. So again, I guess our homes are the level of finishes really depends on the project. So for developers, for example, typically they want to eliminate as many of the trades as possible that need to come on site because they want to exit as fast as possible. We don't necessarily find that issue when it comes to an individual client. Yes, they want to be in their home as fast as possible, but they're also very happy to be working with a general contractor who makes some of those decisions. So at the start of the process, we'll decide the level of finishes in terms of how the panels are delivered to site for that client. But in terms of wiring, that they're pre-punched, ready for wiring. We can also pre-wire the panels. So there's a lot of flexibility for the project. It really just depends on the end client and what they're looking to achieve. And then from sustainability perspective, like we're always advocating for as much as possible green energy, educating the client that if you don't go with this is the lifetime value of what you're losing. So it's our number one goal not to have sustainability as like a tick the box, but actually as a real feature of these houses. All of our designs, because of our architects, are passive by design standard. So straight away you're getting energy efficiency built in, regardless of whatever finishes you choose.
That's actually segues into my next question, which was you guys are using eco-friendly materials and energy efficient designs.
Yeah.
So ultimately that puts you in virtually a net zero kind of operating. And
Yeah.
can you explain what kind of features that entails?
Yeah. So I guess again, from or the steel we use, first of all, is because one of the common questions is how do tariffs impact us? So we buy all of our steel from the US. It's either US Steel or Nucor. It's 100% recyclable. So we've got a more eco-friendly system that we're starting off with. Then from the design perspective, we work with every client based on their budget and really what they're looking to achieve, and obviously trying to ensure that they're maximizing green energy in those homes from day one. But I guess kind of in terms of meeting the the energy codes, vapor control, air sealing, they're all kind of part of the design process that we work through with clients as standard.
Awesome. Can you confirm whether these properties require a crane to build or
No, no.
awesome. Uh, what role do healthy home materials play in your designs? Low VOC finishes, natural materials, and then why do you prioritize them?
Yeah, so I think, look, we recognize that people probably spend the majority of their time indoors, wherever they are, unfortunately, for all of us. But we actually have a project right now with a company in Dubai that's a longevity house. So it's really about healthy homes. And I guess kind of coming from a background in healthcare where I worked for previous to this, I'm very passionate about how do we make homes more healthy environments. And that's something that we've been working on for the last 3 years. So to bring it to fruition in this healthy house project in Dubai, It's really important. So we use, where possible, we use low VOC paints, adhesives, floorings, cabinets. Again, like, we want to educate our clients on how they can deliver the best home and the best product for themselves. So that's a really important part of our own kind of consultation process and working with those clients to give them all of those options. Obviously, ventilation is a very important part of our process. Steel by nature is mold proof. It keeps the air healthier over long term. So there's a lot of kind of standard tick the boxes that, like, you have straight off.
Awesome. And Happy Homes, I know from just looking at your website that you guys generally integrate with heat pumps. Do you also
Yeah.
focus on solar, battery systems, and other electrification technologies?
Yeah. So every client that we work with, we give them a report to really, like, if they're not interested in making the investment day one, in these options, we just want them to understand what the long-term implications of that is for them. So it's really about education and working in consultation with people. And also, I think because our homes are customized, then we can give people options whereby you could save on the home in this area if you want to make the investment on solar right now. So it's really about, like, we've got the opportunity because these are customized single family homes, multifamily homes, but it's really about allowing people to make the decisions rather than trying to sell them something that's completely off the shelf where they don't have any decision in their own long-term say, in terms of how they live in the home.
Awesome. And for the homeowners that are making the investment in the energy upgrades in terms of solar, battery, those kinds of things, what would you project to be kind of their utility savings or energy bill savings? I know you can't dollar for dollar it, but just even from a percentage estimate.
Yeah, so the homes that, like, as standard, you've already got 50% energy efficiency in these homes compared to stick-built houses. So you can reduce that down to 80, 90% by introducing various components. So you can get to net zero very quickly by making those investments. But it's really about working with the clients kind of day one, to for them to understand this is your investment, but this is the long-term value or the return on investment that you get yourself.
Awesome. So in addition to the energy savings, affordability is a really big concern across New York State right now. And you've kind of alluded to, but I'm going to just crystallize it into one question in terms of how your construction methods and energy efficient designs help bring down the overall housing cost for people who are building these houses, both at construction as well as over the life of the home.
So, so the the reduction or the savings that you make is the fact that we have so much work done at the pre-construction level, especially for homes that are already on our website. So that's number one. I think the fact that these are designed and permitted ready, that we will adapt then to the location based on the client. That's a huge saving for clients, both in time and money. The fact then that we're delivering pre-engineered panels to site where you have 40% time saving, that 40% time saving gives you 20%, sorry, cost saving due to trade elimination. That's the next big thing. And then just ongoing from the fact that passive by design, you have up to 50% energy cost savings, then you have a long-term value on the house before you add anything additional in terms of innovations to that home, of which there are plenty that you can do.
Awesome. Can you tell us about your 3D configurator? I know it's really cutting edge technology, so it'd be interesting to get more understanding of that.
Yeah, so I think this whole project on the technology side came about in 2023 after an article in Business Insider, when over the course of about 2 days we had a couple of hundred phone calls of people inquiring about affordable, sustainable housing. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, this is not a business that can be managed through telephone, email, but also as well, I think that housing it lacks so much innovation. Like if you look at all of the other sectors that have been completely transformed through platforms, through AI, yes, there are AI platforms from a customer experience perspective. There aren't a lot of companies out there that allow somebody to come online, select their house, and like go through a whole process where you can actually basically buy your house online, which is what we've been endeavoring to build, which we thought was a 6 month project that has ended up being a 2.5 year project that launches in January. But basically, we've built a platform and a marketplace that allows somebody to select a design, make all of their customizations, um, see pricing in real time based on their location, upload their topography. If they don't have a plot, they can connect with plot partners. One of the reasons why we're really happy today to connect with you guys is that we see financing. We want to break down as many of the barriers as possible, but people accessing plots, financing, we want to integrate all of this in one platform, finding a general contractor, connecting with an architect. So this is what we've built in the back end. People can take their mobile phone and basically select one of the houses from our website, a Martha Stewart Home, and project that house on the plot, play around with it as to how they want it to look. So this whole platform that really allows people to kind of, I guess, self-manage that user experience, which doesn't exist in the market today in one place, is something that we've been building for the last couple of years. And again, like the technology exists, so why not use or why not allow people to have virtual reality tours of a house that they're going to look in, change the colors of the kitchen, the color of the doors when they're viewing those homes in virtual reality. So there's a lot of really exciting innovations that we've built into this platform that we're really looking forward to launching. But I guess kind of in general, what we're trying to do is productize a home, but really deliver a user experience and break down as many of the barriers as possible. Because in a lot of cases right now, building a house isn't necessarily an attractive option to trying to find existing inventory, which we all know is running dry. So that's what we've tried to, I guess, achieve in the technology platform that we're launching.
Awesome. Uh, that question answered the next couple of my questions. So are you, it looks like, you know, there's obviously a lot of work going on. I'm curious if you've had any interaction with any municipalities. I know you mentioned, on your website, infill housing, and filling infill gaps. I know that that's a big thing right now in New York. We're looking at infill, as well as, workforce housing developers or nonprofits to deliver happy homes in bulk at a community scale?
Yeah, so not in New York, but we've delivered houses with the Red Cross. After Hurricane Beryl, we've been involved in a government project delivering a large project for emergency houses for people who lost their homes in the Caribbean. We've also been involved in transitional housing for people from prisons in the USVI. And we're involved in two other states for infill sites. So basically talking to the city about, there's one city we're talking to who have 5,000 infill sites that aren't attractive for them to build on, but that this is a great solution for them. So yeah, there's, as I said, every single state, country, there's opportunities there for us, but we're not involved in New York, but yes, in other states, we have conversations ongoing.
But there is opportunity in New York then to partner with municipalities or
Yeah,
nonprofits. Also, obviously, you'd be looking for lenders on
yeah,
those homes.
yeah.
So for the lenders on here that are looking for new ways to grow their business, this seems like a really, great opportunity. Are there any unique financing challenges you see for buyers of these types of homes?
So I think just actually, Sherry, to mention that like one of our, I guess, kind of maybe not USPs, but we've created our build kits in three pricing sections. So affordable, which is $70 a square foot, the standard, which is the majority of ones on our website, which is $85 to $95 a square foot. And then for the range like the Martha Stewart, which are luxurious hardwood floors, doors, etc., $125, but they can be value engineered also down to the standard kits. So I think first of all, like these are very affordable homes. Typically, we advise our clients that the best way to budget for them is to double the price of the build kit. So we can get an affordable house under $140, even in New York. Like we've had those conversations. Um, but I think in terms of what can be delivered on the affordable side, there's so much, there's a huge amount of scope because it all comes down to volume. And then once you build the volume in, then you can even get prices more attractive.
Awesome. What role do you see for appraisers and underwriters in helping these kind of innovative construction methods gain broader acceptance?
So I think that I don't know the answer to the underwriters, appraisers, but definitely I know from our perspective, one of the biggest issues is the lack of clarity and the nervousness around kind of just the terminology and the fact that there's really no there might be clear definitions, but I think there's so much interchangeable terms being used in the market that it puts people off moving forward with especially solutions like ours that are kind of more comparable to a traditional house. That's one of like the biggest obstacles that we find um always. And I think that what we've found on the lending side, naively, I thought that every bank provided new construction loans. And I realized kind of within a short period of time that that wasn't the case. But then the other issue that I found is because of how our system is built or kind of how we sort out our own contracts, we're paid for our build kit before it leaves our factory. So again, we've had to work with we've been working with United Wholesale Mortgages, US Bank, just to make sure that that fits in. So what we've come to understand is that as long as our build kit doesn't exceed 50% of the overall mortgage, then our process can fit in with the mortgaging requirements. So that's been one thing that's been a learning curve. I think the other thing that would be a real wish list, but I'm not sure how real it is or not, but I'd love to automate the whole kind of appraiser process from within our system for the general contractors as much as possible. So allowing contractors um, to to work with us. So for example, our build kits, when you get a frame delivered on site, there's a QR code. Those QR codes obviously are linked back into a digital twin. That digital twin will tell you how much of the project has been built. Like it would be amazing from our perspective to link that back in with the mortgaging and the financing side of things so that the drawdowns and the drawdowns and the payments out to the general contractors can happen as the project progresses based on the fact that we already have those QR codes and the digital twin built on our side within our own configurator.
That's really interesting. Mm. So I know we've got some pretty large lenders on this call, so maybe there's some opportunity there for some build outs on the technology side. If you look 5 years ahead, what do you think the new normal in home construction is going to look like?
So, well, I hope that from our perspective, aside from Martha Stewart, we've got about 20 other brands in the pipeline that we're working with. So, like the what you see on the screen, like consumer brands can launch home lines. Developers obviously can launch home lines with Happy Homes. They get huge insurance benefits. They exit their projects faster. We're talking to fintechs about them launching mortgageable houses, affordable houses. We're talking to huge retail companies about them launching affordable homes, which is the retailer category. Influencers, creators, they want to make money. They want to use their names, especially people who are in the lifestyle end or the housing end. So I think that fast forward 5 years, I'd like to think that Happy Homes is in the top brands in terms of kind of this whole new generation high performance housing that people can configure online that makes it an attractive option that allows homeowners to get on the ladder. I think the other thing that we're seeing in a big way is about 60% of all of our clients come to us because they have an existing piece of land and they want to build a backyard home, whether it's multi-generational living, parents moving out, kids moving in. So I think that's also a big piece of kind of what our next 5 years looks like in terms of these type of projects that basically build multiple homes on existing sites. But it's really for us, it's about building the brand value, the brand trust that removes obstacles to home building.
What are the biggest myths or misconceptions about panelized home building do you wish the mortgage industry understood better?
That probably, oh, that maybe it's kind of like not a one size fits all. So I think that there's like preconceptions about the terminology that all of a sudden it scares the end client. And when they talk to, like, I'm just talking from my own experience, but when our clients talk to mortgage brokers, sometimes those mortgage brokers put them off about the long-term value of the homes, the comps, etc. But actually, when you look at it, like in Colorado, in other states, steel built houses are achieving a higher value compared to stick built houses when it comes to resale value. So I think that we find that our clients are often put off this route of home building because the people they're talking to, whether it's a general contractor or a mortgage broker, they don't understand what can be delivered and what the end result will be long term and the value and the advantages.
Thanks. What innovations are on your radar that could further reduce carbon footprint, accelerate construction, or improve homeowner affordability?
Ooh, I think that the continued adoption of steel is really important to us in terms of I guess kind of like the main innovation that obviously we're pushing out. I think the use of digital twins is also a really interesting innovation from a technology perspective that allows us to help people understand more about the kind of the long-term sustainability of the house that we're really looking to kind of adopt in a much bigger way. Um, yeah, but steel is our number one focus in terms of material.
For lenders and real estate partners listening, what one action could they take today to accelerate the adoption of high quality, sustainable housing like yours?
I think it would be amazing if we could all get on the same page around the terminology and understanding that even if Joseph wants to go back, I think it's like slide 3, but understanding that this is not modular, this is not factory built, this is not manufactured, these aren't craned in on site. This is like we're basically swapping over timber frame construction for panelized steel construction with all the benefits and the sustainability, high performance benefits that you get from that. But I think not having such like a blanket vision around the terminology would be really, really helpful, both just on all aspects.
Awesome. And I think the liquidity in the construction end of the financing, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
is definitely a big challenge.
Yeah.
Uh, does anybody that's in the audience here have any questions for Mary? Joe, do you have any? Is there anything that we didn't talk about, Mary? Because I know you had a slide deck prepared and then we decided we were going to have a conversation. I want to make sure I include
Yeah.
everything you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, I think from our side, it's much better to go conversational.
Yeah, I is there anything else that you think the lending community would benefit from knowing? I mean, I have to say this whole opportunity, I mean, I spent hours going through your website, went down a major rabbit hole. Looks like we've got a raised hand here from Jim Bop. But I think this is so exciting. Jim, I think we might have to unmute him, Joe or Lauren.
Can you
There he
hear me
goes. He
now?
should be on now. Go ahead, Jim.
All
Yep.
right. Could you go a little deeper into the homeowners insurance savings, potential savings? It's becoming such a huge issue, insurability, premiums, how that factors into things being unaffordable. Obviously in California where you have fires,
Yeah.
that's a big deal, but nationally, do you guys have any calculations on percentage of premiums that could be saved?
I do. I have it in the context of developers that let me just check. I've got a slide. Um, I don't want to misspeak in terms of the stats, but I can hopefully share something with you.
You want me to stop sharing this, Mary?
Do you know what? I'm sorry. I can share it afterwards if that's of any help, like a one pager
Sure.
about the insurance savings, if that's okay. But like for like, I know on the developer side it's 60% savings, but let me send you the calculations where that comes from, and then I'll send everything to Joseph after the call, right after the call.
That works.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I feel like you're solving the world's problems here, Mary.
Well, you know what? Like housing is a problem everywhere. So it's almost like I have to like stop at night thinking, oh my God, like we can do it in this country, we can do it in this country. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sustainable materials,
Yeah,
affordability, insurance savings, utility savings, tick,
yeah,
tick, tick, tick. Um,
yeah.
all
And
great.
I think the fact that, look, at the end of the day, like the labor is becoming a massive issue and the labor shortages and the delays created for people. Like we've had such an amazing response from developers purely because of the fact that we can deliver the panelized frames to the extent that there's a, there's less reliance on humans when it goes to site. So look, I think that this is like at a very low point. If you look at like countries like Norway and other Scandinavian countries, Japan, like these are the go-to technologies on the construction side. But as I said, it's 5% or less in the US. So it's only going to increase as um, more and more problems on the labor side. I think people will be forced to adopt these technologies outside of the fact there are advantages from adopting them.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to be responsible for helping you make that 50% in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us. And we will forward out all the materials from today's webinar to the attendees. And Mary, I cannot thank you enough for the work that you're doing, as well as for taking time out of your busy schedule to come meet with us and educate us on something that's really, really innovative and exciting.
Thank you so much. And I'd love to be connected with any brokers because one of our big issues is that we want to remove as many of the obstacles as possible. So when people come and they say, we need financing, if we can make referrals, we'd be more than happy to do that.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much, everybody.